You're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi attends Quad Summit, highlights its importance as a force for global good. Key joint initiatives announced. Prime Minister Modi holds talks with US President Joe Biden, says their comprehensive global strategic partnership is driven by a convergence of interest. In Sri Lanka, counting of votes underway for the presidential polls. NPP's Anura Kumara Dissanayake leads in postal ballots. Kamala Harris invites Donald Trump for another debate. Trump declines, says too late. In sports, both Indian teams close to win the gold medal in the chess Olympiad. Men's team will face Slovenia in the final round, while the Indian women's team share top spot with Kazakhstan. Well, on to the top story. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is on a 3-day visit to United States, participated in the Quad Leaders Summit in Wilmington in Delaware, being hosted by US President Joe Biden in his hometown. This is the 6th Quad Summit, of which 2 took place virtually. While Prime Minister Modi used the acronym for Quad as Quick Unified Assistance Delivery and underlined the need to establish Indo-Pacific inclusivity and prosperity as the grouping's shared priority. Quad leaders appreciated him for the leadership role in the Indian Ocean. President Biden said that the US has things to learn from India's experience and leadership in the Indian Ocean.
The Quad has become a pivotal force in shaping shifting geopolitical dynamics. Amid global tensions and conflicts, the alliance comprising India, the US, Japan and Australia convened in Wilmington, Delaware. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the Indo-Pacific inclusivity and prosperity as a shared priority, with a clear message that the cooperation of the nations is important for humanity, given the current world order. He also thanked President Biden for expanding cooperation across critical areas like health, technology and climate change.
Free, open, inclusive और prosperous Indo-Pacific हमारी साझा प्राथमिकता और साझा प्रतिबद्धता है. हमने मिलकर हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी, critical and emerging technologies, climate change, capacity building जैसे क्षेत्रों में कई सकारात्मक और समावेशी इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं.
PM Modi also asserted that the Quad was not against anyone and it supported rules-based international order.
हमारी बैठक ऐसे समय हो रही है जब विश्व तनावों और संघर्षों से घिरा हुआ है. ऐसे में साझा डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज के आधार पर क्वाड का मिलकर साथ चलना पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है. हम किसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं. हम सभी एक रूल्स बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर, संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के सम्मान और सभी मसलों के शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से हल निकालने के समर्थन करते हैं.
US President Joe Biden echoed this sentiment, affirming that the Quad is more aligned than ever, announcing new initiatives.
Today, we're announcing a series of initiatives to deliver real, positive impact for the Indo-Pacific. That includes providing new maritime technologies to our regional partners so they know what's happening in their waters, launching cooperation between Coast Guards for the first time, and expanding the Quad Fellowship to include students from Southeast Asia.
Japanese PM and his Australian counterpart further stressed on the need of an institution like Quad that plays a crucial role in strengthening security and peace in the region. They called Quad to work together for a more secure and open international order.
It is ever more important for us, the Quad, who share values such as freedom and democracy, to continue to demonstrate our firm commitment to our common vision of FOIP, the free and open Indo-Pacific, to the international community.
Partnerships like the Quad are crucial, providing us with an avenue to discuss shared responsibilities and goals and strengthening the enduring relationships necessary for lasting stability.
In an ever-evolving world, the Quad's commitment to a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific is crucial for the future of global stability and cooperation. With Amritpal Singh in the United States, Bureau Report, DD India.
And India, USA, Australia and Japan expressed a serious concern about the coercive and intimidating maneuvers in South China Sea. In the joint declaration, the leaders of the four countries came out heavily against any misadventures that break the international rules-based order. Countries participating in Quad emphasized the urgent need to make UNSC more representative, inclusive, transparent, democratic and accountable. The Quad nations in their declaration expressed an unequivocal condemnation against terrorism and violent extremism in all its form and manifestations, including cross-border terrorism, and affirmed commitment for international cooperation. The Quad nations also announced key initiatives to address the development priorities of the Indo-Pacific region and of the global community. These initiatives include health security, humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, maritime security, quality infrastructure, critical and emerging technologies, climate and clean energy, cyber security space, Quad Investors Network, people-to-people initiatives, working together to address regional and global issues, and enduring partners for the Indo-Pacific. And for more, we have Shubhendu Ghosh joining us from New York. Well, Shubhendu, Quad leaders appreciated Prime Minister Modi for the leadership role in the Indian Ocean. For the sake of our viewers, give us an overall of the Quad summit and the joint declaration as India now plays a major role on the global stage.
Absolutely, Lipakshi. A hugely significant Quad summit concluded in Delaware, United States. We already presented the key tenets of what had transpired between the leaders of the Quad summit. But some of the highlights, if you could talk about, especially in the health sector, we know that during the pandemic emergency, the Quad leaders, the Quad countries had come together to provide vaccine relief, putting in use each other's expertise in such a manner that not only did these countries benefit, these four countries benefit, but they made some 400 million vaccines available for the global south, for the Indo-Pacific countries. In a similar manner, we saw it was also an emotional moment when President Biden spoke about the cancer moonshot initiative, wherein the best resources, best expertise and best solutions are going to be pooled in so as to make sure that benefits of such reforms are taken to countries who possibly cannot afford such original research or technological or vaccine-related interventions. So there an important cooperation has come up, and perhaps this Quad summit would be remembered for this breakthrough in cancer research and treatment world over, especially in the Indo-Pacific, which is also the region which is worst affected by this health calamity. And besides that, we see a host of areas which have traditionally been the working group areas, from climate change, from emerging technology. The security infrastructure, of course, is at the heart of what Quad is all about. All those themes discussed deeply by the leaders, and once again it's reiterated that the Quad grouping is not a creation against any country, but more importantly, it is in fact on the side of free and fair and open Indo-Pacific. and it is against any misadventure that tries to dislodge or disbalance that idea of the Indo-Pacific being open and free for all.
Right, Shubhendu. Also, what all is lined up for today? As we know, the Prime Minister has emplaned for New York and will interact with the Indian diaspora there.
Today, yes, absolutely. It's a hugely special diaspora event, a mega event. Some 15,000 diaspora members are all descending from different parts of United States. Some 40 states, I'm told, the diaspora members, Indian Americans, have all gathered in Nassau County. That's part of the larger New York state. And there's a stadium, it's called Nassau Stadium. That's where this special event is going to take place. Hundreds of artists, hundreds of programs, artistic performances, which are themed after Indian culture, Indian dance performances. That is being prepared for Prime Minister. It's a very special welcome. Many also say that it is going to remind, and the organizers say that it is going to remind people and the participants of the Madison Square event that Prime Minister had participated a decade ago in 2014. Great excitement among diaspora members to have Prime Minister among them. Nassau County, particularly because Prime Minister would be visiting the place, and the place is buzzing with excitement and energy. And just a matter of hours before Prime Minister participates in this special diaspora program, also be addressing it. The next event, important event of the day, would be his engagement with the business leaders, a CEO roundtable. Again, there, the focus area is going to be new and emerging technologies, the manner in which the private sector could come in, pool in their resources, and make the best use of this fantastic relationship between India and the United States, which is a win-win situation for both the sides.
All right, Shubhendu, very important day today as well. Thank you so much for all those details from there. And moving on the sidelines of the Quad meet, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, along with US President Joe Biden, Australian PM Anthony Albanese and Japanese PM Fumio Kishida attended the Cancer Moonshot event. Quadrilateral Cancer Moonshot initiative was launched by Quad leaders to prevent, detect, treat and alleviate the impact of cervical cancer. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced a special fund to fight against the cervical cancer. PM Modi said Quad has decided to jointly tackle challenges of cervical cancer.
यह एफोर्डेबल, एक्सेसिबल और क्वालिटी हेल्थ केयर के लिए हमारे साझे दृढ़ निश्चय को दर्शाता है। एक्सेलेंसी, भारत अपना एक्सपीरियंस और एक्सपर्टाइज शेयर करने के लिए तैयार है। आज कैंसर केयर में काम करने वाले भारत के कई एक्सपर्ट्स इस इवेंट्स में हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। भारत का विजन है वन अर्थ वन हेल्थ। इसी भावना से मैं क्वाड मूनशॉट इनिशिएटिव के तहत $7.5 मिलियन के सैपलिंग किट्स, डिटेक्शन किट्स और वैक्सीन का सहयोग देने की घोषणा करता हूं।
Well, Prime Minister further said that India will also cooperate in radiotherapy treatment and capacity building and announced another fund for vaccine doses in the Indo-Pacific region.
मुझे खुशी है कि इंडो पैसिफिक देशों के लिए गावी और क्वाड की पहलों के अंतर्गत भारत से 40 मिलियन वैक्सीन डोसेज का योगदान दिया जाएगा। ये 40 मिलियन वैक्सीन डोसेज करोड़ों लोगों के जीवन में आशा की किरणें बनेगी। As you can see, when the Quad acts, it is not just for nations, it is for the people. This is the true essence of our human-centric approach. Dhanyavad.
While India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met US President Joe Biden on the margins of the Quad summit, Prime Minister Modi was welcomed by Biden at his residence and both the leaders shared a warm gesture. Prime Minister conveyed his appreciation for the unparalleled contributions made by President Biden in giving impetus to the India-US partnership. Both the leaders had discussions focusing on ways to further deepen the bilateral partnership in areas of mutual interest. Leaders exchanged views on global and regional issues, including the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. While leaving the Biden's residence following the talks, both leaders expressed confidence in the strength and continuing resilience of the relationship. Sharing pictures on X, Prime Minister Modi thanked Biden for hosting him at his residence in Greenville, Delaware. He termed the talks as extremely fruitful as both the leaders had an opportunity to discuss regional and global issues during the meeting. Sharing an emotional post on social media platform X, Biden wrote that each time they sit down, he's struck by their ability to find new areas of cooperation and that today was no different. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese held bilateral talks on the sidelines of the Quad summit in Delaware. Leaders held talks on several regional and global issues. And on the sidelines of the Quad Leaders Summit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Japanese counterpart Fumio Kishida. Also, the two leaders noted that the India-Japan Special Strategic and Global Partnership is in its 10th year and expressed satisfaction at the progress made in the relationship. The two Prime Ministers reviewed the multifaceted relationship between the two countries and exchanged views to deepen cooperation further, including defense and security ties and B2B and P2P collaborations. And time now for a short break. We'll be back in a while.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kunanan. Moving on, in Sri Lanka, counting of votes is underway as NPP leader Anura Kumara Dissanayake has taken a huge lead over other candidates in the postal ballots. The leftist leader has secured over 50% postal votes in 20 out of 22 electoral districts. According to officials, polling for presidential elections concluded with a turnout of around 75%. The voting remained largely peaceful with stray incidents of election violations. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri extended his congratulations to Dissanayake. Taking to X, Sabri, who supported independent candidate President Ranil Wickremesinghe, expressed hope that Dissanyake's leadership would bring Sri Lanka the peace, prosperity and stability it deeply deserves. And former U.S. President and Republican nominee Donald Trump has ruled out another debate with Democratic rival Vice President Kamala Harris ahead of the 5th November presidential election. This came hours after Harris' campaign said she had agreed to an October 23rd matchup with her Republican rival on CNN. Trump said that it was too late for a debate as voting had already started. The two leaders had their first debate earlier this month.
The problem with another debate is that it's just too late. Voting has already started. She's had her chance to do it with Fox. You know, Fox invited us on, and I waited, and they turned it down. But now she wants to do a debate right before the election with CNN because she's losing badly.
And updates now on Israel-Hamas conflict. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant carried out a situation assessment on Saturday alongside Military Chief Herzi Halevi and other senior defense officials after gathering restrictions on residents of areas in northern Israel were imposed. The situation assessment came ahead of anticipated retaliation for an Israeli strike on Hezbollah commanders in Lebanon on Friday. And more Israeli strikes hit southern Lebanon on Saturday evening, continuing some of the heaviest bombardment in 11 months of fighting. The Israeli military said it had been striking extensively in southern Lebanon after detecting plans by Hezbollah to strike Israeli communities. The strikes came after an Israeli airstrike targeting Hezbollah commanders the previous day killed at least 37 people in a suburb of the Lebanese capital, according to the authorities.
In the past hour, we have been striking extensively in southern Lebanon following detection of Hezbollah preparing to fire toward Israeli territory. Dozens of Israeli Air Force aircraft are currently striking terrorist targets and rocket launchers to remove the threat to Israeli civilians.
Meanwhile, Israelis converged on the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday to urge Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to refocus on securing the release of hostages from Gaza rather than trading blows with Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon. Following many similar demonstrations since the conflict in Gaza began on 7th of October, protesters voiced anger and frustration that the remaining hostages were yet to be freed since being taken captive almost a year ago. And Iran unveiled a new ballistic missile and upgraded one-way attack drone at a military parade amid soaring regional tensions and allegations of arming Russia. Its new president, Masoud Pezeshkian, attended an annual parade in Tehran commemorating the 1980 to 1988 war with Saddam Hussein's Iraq. And the UAE does not plan to resume talks with the US over a multi-billion-dollar deal for F-35 fighter planes, irrespective of who is elected to the White House in November. Earlier reports said that the UAE was planning to resume negotiations to purchase F-35s and armed drones if Donald Trump wins a second presidential term. In late 2021, the UAE suspended talks, unable to agree terms with the Joe Biden administration. If the US approves the deal, UAE will become only the second West Asian nation after Israel to operate the F-35s. And in sports, Indian men's team are close to winning a gold medal after they defeated the USA by 2.5, 1.5 in the 10th and penultimate round of the 2024 Chess Olympiad in Budapest, capital of Hungary. Arjun Erigaisi has put India on the brink of a historic gold medal in the open section with a victory over USA's Lainia Dominiquez Perez in the final match of the 10th round. Erigaisi and Gukesh continued their stellar run. Gukesh outclassed world number 2 Fabiano Caruana, while Erigaisi got better of a race. Now India leads with 19 points, followed by China with 17 points and Slovenia with 16 points. They will face Slovenia in the 11th and final round on Sunday. In women's section, the Indian women's team are back in the contention for gold. They scored a critical 2.5, 1.5 win over China in the 10th round to share top spot with Kazakhstan. Deva Deshmukh once again struck for India. Deva scored a wonderful win while all three games ended with a draw. And Bangladesh needs 357 runs to win the first match of a test series against India at Chennai. At the end of day 3, Bangladesh was 158 for the loss of 4 wickets as early stumps was taken because of bad light. For Bangladesh, Najmul Hussain Shanto remained unbeaten on 51. For India, Ravichandran Ashwin continued his dream form, following up on first innings 100th figures of 3 for 63. Earlier, Shubman Gill and Rishabh Pant's tons helped India set a target of 515 runs, giving Bangladesh a huge mountain to climb to win the test. India declared at 287 for 4 on day 3. Pant scored 109 runs, while Gill slammed 119 runs. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.